Alright you guys, it's Michael here. In this video I'm going to be going over, I got a new quad project and it wasn't running. I got it given to me from some family friends. It was sitting for about 7 years and it was actually pretty easy to bring back to life. And in trade, it wasn't really a trade, but I told the owner of the quad that if they ever need some cedar, let me know and I'd mill them some. And it's kind of ironic, I used the quad with the homemade log arch I built quite a few years back to haul some cedar up off my property to mill and to give to the original owner of the quad. So it's been pretty good. It's already earned its keep. So if you're interested in the video, stick around and check it out, guys. Quick. The tarps just kind of rotted off of it over time. Well, we got it figured out. We brought extra battery. The battery leads were short, so we had to make a little jumper up here. Turned out the tank was completely out of gas, which is good. Float bowl was clean. Put some fresh gas in it and got it fired up. It's actually running really good, idling great without the choke on. And the back brake was frozen up pretty bad. I think I'll probably have to get in here and do some bearing work to the rear differential, but it fully works now. So we're going to take it back and clean it up and start kind of restoring this thing. Alright, so got this thing home now and I was looking it over. Got a seat cover on the way because this seat is haggard, man. It's definitely not going to bounce back. No duct tape's going to repair that thing. Got a little temporary battery in here. I got a new sealed battery on the way. Fixed this ground lead temporarily. Going to get a new one ordered here. And it's going to check the condition of the air filter. A lot of these old ones are rotted out and this one is magically gone. Not a good sign. Hopefully it didn't ride too long without an air filter in here. Of course, I just got started yesterday and drove it on the truck, but hopefully the previous owner didn't run it too long. Got a new air filter on the way, got an oil filter, got some quarts of Honda oil, and looking over a few more things I'm going to do to this thing, but grips, straighten the handlebars are a little bit tweaked, and a few other things like that. But next off is cleaning all this old grass clippings off of this thing and pressure washing it, cleaning it up. So one thing I think about why this tank was empty was I noticed since we've put a little gas in here, it's weeping around the base of this side and on the other side. I remember seeing this with a cracked weld on a KLR years ago, so we had to put some gas tank sealant in it. So I might have to do that on this thing. That's like 30 bucks or something. Actually works pretty good. Well, it looks pretty good. I'm not much of a pressure washer guy when it comes to washing motorcycles and quads and stuff, but I figured this was so grimy, had all that grass stuck in every little nook and cranny. Good way to pressure wash it once here. Everything else would be just probably washing with just regular hose pressure. I noticed, you know, this back drum was stuck on when we got it, and I noticed the vent line that should go up towards the headset was broken. So I assume people probably ran it through some creeks or some ponds, got water in here, and parked it for the winter. And when they came back to it, the back drum was locked on. And the two carrier bearings back here are lubricated from the rear diff. This one back here, I hear kind of go out sometimes. And with all that water in there, I want to pull this cover off and pull some of the stuff off the axle and probably put a new bearing in here. Rather do some preventative maintenance than spin a bearing and destroy the housing or anything like that. But waiting on a few parts here and get this thing fixed up. It's actually a pretty good runner so far. So after pressure washing the quad, it looks a hell of a lot better. But some parts are finally starting to show up. I ordered. We won't be needing this. I bought it. It was only 30 some bucks. Of course, it's a Chinese knockoff, so it's probably not nearly as good as the original. I just thought the original carb's been sitting for so long on here, it was probably shot. I don't mind cleaning carbs, but sometimes they sit around so long, the rubber diaphragms wear out and get holes in them. I thought, well, get this one on the way. Of course, it runs really good because they had no gas in it when it sat for numerous years. We got a battery that showed up, a sealed battery, but this is going to make the biggest difference, I think, right here is a new seat cover. So we're going to definitely get this thing put on here. And you want to help Dad install the seat cover? Yeah. Okay. All right. Get this thing off of there. That's seeing better days. So we're going to throw this new seat cover on. I think it was like 30 some bucks on Amazon. And Usually seat covers make a world of difference. This foam's all worn out, so we have to do a little smoothing with this to kind of make it blend in again. But so pretty much you gotta just yank out all these old staples. There's probably about 50 of them in here. Use a little O-ring pick to kind of get underneath them a little bit. Flathead and needle nose, and that should take care of most of it. I'm gonna save you guys the boring shots of pulling all these out. So because the seat cover was so bad for so long and sun faded and just worn out, this part was way lower. There's some corners back here, and this part's had some deep kind of grooves in them. So I just took an angle grinder with a flat disc and just try to smooth out any of the high spots. There's a few dimples in here. Some of these imperfections will show a little bit, but if you really try to put some more foam in here, it's kind of hard to blend it in smoothly. I'm sure if you take your time you can, but for me it's a utility quad, and I think just smoothing out some of the high spots and rounding it off a little bit, it'll probably be fine. Before I get doing a little time lapse here, I usually start off with trying to center the front of the seat cover. And of course you need one of these pneumatic. You can pick these up for like 22 bucks at Harbor Freight. You can't do it with the manual staple gun. It's just worthless. You'll just get frustrated and give up on it. Start off in the front, put a few temporary staples up front here, pull it fairly tight, come around the back, put a few, and then from here you guys will probably see me working it over on the time lapse to kind of like stretch it and pull it down and tighten it all the way up. You got the crucial parts like the front and back fitted fairly close. You can work out some tension on that later. You can work the main tension over on the sides like this by holding the seat cover and rolling that kind of wave of material around the corner, and then holding it tight and stapling. Of course it's always easier with another person, but I've done plenty by myself and it works. But if you're starting off in your first one, you might just do this and hold it and have another person staple it for you. Might cut down on some frustration on your first attempt. Well, all right, got that thing on there. Turned out pretty good. Big improvement from that gray, crusty half seat cover that was ripped to shit. It's got this thing all washed, got the seat cover taken care of, and looking a lot better. So I'm starting to apply this stuff. It's called New Bike in a Can. It's from Maxima Oils. Anyways, it represents the name pretty well. It is a game changer when cleaning up plastic and things. And if you spray it underneath your fenders, it helps keep mud from caking. It cleans up a lot better when you go to wash your bike too. So anyways, there'll be a link to all the parts I used in this build down below in the description if you guys are interested in a battery, seat cover, things like that, this kind of product. So gonna get glossing this thing up now. All right, we got some more stuff that just showed up here. Got a Honda oil filter. This is all kind of a little kit I ordered on Amazon. We got an air filter. Drawback to, you're welcome, buddy. Another Honda air filter, but the drawback is, I guess I'm missing a cage, I just realized, because this is like a floppy. This is not going to support anything. So we got that. You're welcome. And we got a NGK spark plug for it and 3 quarts of 1040 Honda motor oil. This is right around 50 bucks. So I started pricing some of these parts out by themselves, so it's just better to order as a little tune-up kit here. So we're gonna get all this stuff on here, and good thing I got another air filter, kind of a temporary one on there right now, just for putting around. But all right, you gonna help me change the oil, Everett? You want to help? Okay, sounds good. So I got the tank off the quad, and of course we're dealing with little bits of leaks down the lower section of it, but overall the tank looks pretty clean inside. It's just kind of gray in there, no major rust, but of course there's a little rust that probably got in, a little water that sat in here for years and rusted out, little pinholes down here and on the other side. The whole tank's pretty clean, so I'm not worried about running a bunch of chain in there trying to knock off a bunch of rust, because I think it's just a little bit down these bottom sections. I got some CLR is recommended for the tank coating that I'm going to use, the red coat. Got some hot water here, but first I got to pull off the petcock valve, drain the rest of the fuel out of there. So we're going to rinse it out, clean it, dry it, and come back tomorrow after it dries really well and put the red coat inside. All right, you guys, I didn't really document the whole process sealing the tank, but it's pretty basic. I ordered this stuff originally, and I don't recommend it. I haven't ever ran it, but the reason I don't recommend it was I was looking for this. I couldn't quite remember what it's called. I used this stuff years ago on my dad's motorcycle tank to seal a little split in the tank on one of the weld seams, and it's been working for like 4 or 5 years flawlessly on one application. Couldn't remember what it was called, so I ordered this off of Amazon. It's about 20 bucks, about the same price as this can. As you can see, there's a big difference in size. The reason why I wouldn't recommend this stuff is because once I got home, you start reading over the directions. They really recommend you use their cleaner, which is another 20 bucks, and then they recommend you use their etcher or prep, and that's another 20 bucks. It ends up being 60 bucks to seal a damn tank. I don't really want to pay that for it. And I just don't like products when they say you must use their other products. This stuff is about 20 bucks, 22 bucks a can. You get a lot more in here. And you go to their site and they recommend basic CLR. I don't know if you guys remember those corny commercials about infomercials and stuff. Anyways, you can pick this stuff up in any big box store or anywhere that carries cleaning supplies. And that works really well to clean the inside of the gas tank. That's not for removing rust. I only had a little bit down here where the rust problem was. But if you have a really rusty tank, you look at some other videos online on how to remove all that. This is mainly just to degrease the thing, get it ready to prep for this. Yeah, so I just made a little funnel, capped off the bottom petcock valve area, and made a little funnel and poured it in and rolled it around like they recommend and let it air dry. Pretty simple. Another thing, this stuff had like a 90-some hour cure time. This I think is like 24 or 36 hours or something, probably like that. So anyways, enough talking about that. This is red coat. Highly recommend you guys, if you have any metal gas tank issues, this stuff is a good product. So before I put this tank on, let me show you something. Honda didn't really think this one through very good. I think they got too caught up with aesthetics and really didn't think about function. Guess they don't really care about 5 or 6 owners down the road from a new quad. Like I've got an old ass quad here I'm working on. They're probably considering how it works for the person that purchased it, so maybe they don't care. But this is not a good design on a metal tank. You got this lower section, which is actually lower than the fuel valve sits down here, just so it blends into the seat and side panel properly. But it's like paper thin. It's literally, it's like 3/8 of an inch thick here. And it sits below the bottom of the fuel tank drain. So what do you think when you get water in there? What's it gonna do? It's gonna go and sit down and settle on the bottom on both sides, and there's like pinholes on both sides of this tank. It's been rusting and looks like it. That's why the fuel tank was empty when I got it there. And yeah, so anyways, that's why we're sealing this thing up, because these little wafer thin sections, just so it blends right with the side panel. Not a good design, Honda. But I guess this thing's from '93. It lasted for quite a while. Alright, you guys, so when I got this thing, I got it given to me from some family friends, and it was free. But I did tell my friend Kurt that if he needed any cedar or anything, I have the sawmill, and I'd be happy to cut some or give him some cedar. And I've had it for about a month and a half now. I've been fixing some little things like that, and got a call from Kurt the other day and asked if I could give him some cedar. So I don't have the right stuff on stock, so I'm going to actually got the log arch hooked to the back, and it's kind of fitting to use this vehicle to get some of the cedar off my property to pay for it and trade. So I'm going to fire it up and go take the chainsaw down and do some cutting up some logs and haul it up to the sawmill so I can actually pretty much trade for this thing. But anyways, this is the sawmill I built to use motorcycle parts, motorcycle wheels, pallet racking, things like that. And here's a cedar tree from my property here, and I'm going to show you guys a little quick shot of this thing milling some of this. And like I said, this is a trade for that quad, so it worked out pretty good. Good trade. Alright you guys, I think this is a good point to wrap up the video here. Next video I post about it, we'll do a little bit more maintenance to it to get it up to top-notch condition and do some rides with it. But anyways, yeah, this is some of the cedar I brought up here, and I need to bring a few more logs up from the lower part of my property and cut them on my mill in the next week or so and trade for this thing. So anyways, it's been working great. One thing, like I sealed the tank a little while back, and that seems to be working great, so I'm happy about that. No more leaks. It's always got gas in it when I come to it now. And one thing, when I got it, the brakes were stuck on the rear end, so right now I'm only relying on front brakes. I don't have back brakes, and the front brakes feel extremely stiff, so I'm going to go through those and clean those up and see if the wheel cylinders are stuck at all. It will slow down and stop, but I really want to get the back brakes going again. So I ordered some shoes, I got them down in my shop, and I got the rear bearing for the brake hub side and seals. So I'm going to do that probably the next week or two when I get a little time. Should be pretty good to go. So yeah, stick around and check out the next video when I post it. Alright you guys, if you like the video, click like and subscribe. I also have a link I'll put up here to the log arch if you guys got a quad or tractor or something like that. It's super portable for moving, you know, 8 to 12 foot logs around. I think, you know, about 28, 30 inches diameter. And it's pretty nice because the log arch is small enough and light enough you can lift it up and move it around by hand if you're in a tight spot, and then back the four-wheeler up and hook it on there. Alright you guys, until next time, take care. Bye.